Hey, my name is Chirag Joshi. I'm 21 years old. So technically, I'm Gen Z. So for the past 3 years, I've been in the electric vehicle and sustainable mobility space, and I've been trying to, come up with practical ways of how can we as a generation, the Gen Z and the millennials, combat the gruesome effects of climate change. And our generation is the last line of defense. If we do not step up and do something, it might be too late. So I've had the privilege to interact with a lot of millennials, and I'm thankful that they think the same, and a lot of them have some amazing ideas too. So don't take my word for it. Watch out these amazing millennials, voice out their opinions in terms of how can we practically combat climate change and pioneer sustainability. Do you think about sustainability, incorporating some sustainable avenues here in Kuku, or even personally? So you told me something about the other day, so I'd like you to speak on that.
So the thing is, of course, I mean, this is like the need of the hour. I mean, everybody wants to be sustainable and everything. We did quite a few experiments here. We did to an extent like rainwater harvesting. We're planning to do it again on a larger scale, basically build up around the terrace and everything.
Yeah.
And we wanted to go solar. That's one thing we are trying to do as well. And on top of that, like all the things that when the hostel started, like everything was taken from scrap, like,
Okay.
and then turned into tables, other things. We did not buy anything new. Everything was like donated by people, and also like we wanted to like minimalize like the new buying stuff and everything. And on top of that, we even experimented with the pop-up house here on the terrace.
Yeah.
Wherein like a guy wanted to like experiment with like a single living house on the terrace that will have amenities of like a rack for like keeping your stuff, a bed to sleep in, and like windows and everything, electricity as well.
Yeah.
And we wanted to take it to the next level by building up like an attached washroom wherein like the waste from the washroom is converted into like manure and everything. So we experimented with that as well. And yes, I mean, I myself participate in like sustainability events as well. We have people who come here and speak about sustainability as well.
Awesome.
So we even had like people visit from University of Minnesota and everything, and they wanted also to like do sustainable things as well. I am gonna say also like you should check out Anthill Creations.
Okay.
They do like playgrounds for children out of like waste materials like tires and everything. So they did a workshop there as well.
Wow. I mean, urban for me. I mean, like for me, what's a more lucrative thing to look at is urban forestation, because I don't hear it that much. And I don't really, of course, I know what it means, but like I have zero clue about how to go about implementing those things. You told me a good thing about, that whenever any tree is planted in an urban area, it has a set life, and the authorities sort of cut it after that.
That is not in the urban areas,
Okay.
but the forest reserves have specific lands that are created for the purpose of afforestation.
Okay.
And these forest development authorities, this is a known fact. It is not any secret that I'm putting out. So they develop the forest lands for say 4 or 5 decades, and then bring down those trees to cultivate new forest
ones.
lands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So I mean, like the urban forestation part was. I think there are a lot of, and I'm sure you would have heard it, that people were putting up on the on the pillars of the flyovers. They were putting up these standing gardens or what, right?
Yeah.
And do you think that's that's a effective way of doing it? Like does it make an impact? Of putting up those standing gardens on the vertical gardens. Okay, vertical gardens on the pillars of flyovers and even on buildings and all of that. So does that have a significant impact?
With the pollution that sets in around these flyovers, I have not seen a practical solution for this. Maybe we need to work on of course, if you pass through Electronic City, you will definitely see some of these vertical gardens that have been dried up. And I don't think that there is anything that people can actually do about it once, so any plant for that matter, you need to nurture it for about 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
It is mandatory for any plant. So if you just put out a sapling and think it'll grow in a few months, it's not going to happen by any chance.
Yeah.
So vertical gardens are a solution considering the lack of space we experience today. We all must have seen those videos of some country, I'm not sure which one, where these vertical gardens have been practical.
Singapore's one of them, I guess.
Right, must be Singapore.
Yeah.
So you see these brigade buildings, they have set up vertical gardens, and those gardens are flourishing. So if the authorities, the concerned people look into the matter and see where we are lacking, maybe diverting rainwater from the flyovers is something that we can think about.
Sure,
Yeah, but that's of course a huge cost to the government to divert those investments here and take care of the rainwater that is seeping down to build these vertical gardens.
I think we're beyond the point
That's-
of debating
yeah.
if what deserves investment and what doesn't, because we're at the stage where if we don't invest, we might as well, just give up hope,
People's mindsets is also a big part of that, right?
Yeah.
Like as long as people think that like cycles and buses are for the poor, we are in deep shit. And that's like a deep set mentality, like what is considered cheap and what is considered fancy. It's all messed up over here. I mean, personally, I'm a huge advocate of like our personal choices building up towards a greater change.
Yeah.
And I really don't get when people wait for their governments or their leaders to tell them like do this or do that. I feel like we all understand what morality is, and we're all smart, educated people, and we can like look into ourselves and look at the world around us and decide what is right and what is wrong. And those are still choices that we can make, So just because we were taught certain things in schools or in universities or by our parents, that's all conditioning, at some level. And I feel like we really need to introspect, and we need to be able to see what is right, because in 10 years when the floods come and the hurricanes come and the droughts come, there are going to be no excuses, So you really have to make the right choices now.